everybody. Welcome to Leaflix. I'm Tommy. This is Connor, and you can't tell just by looking at Connor, but he's got a gastrointestinal disease. Connor is a 15-year-old MMCC patient, and Connor uses cannabis to help with his symptoms and his conditions. Connor's awesome, high school student. He's a race car driver, and I have a lot of fun with Connor all the time. We skateboard together, and I'm really happy to be here with you. Thank you for talking to us, Connor, and letting us know what's going on with you, what's going on in your life, and talking to us about your condition. I wanted to ask you how you medicate. What do you do in regard to medicating? Like what method you use?
I use tinctures and oils, stuff like that.
Okay. How do they help in regard to your pain?
Honestly, as long as I'm using my medical cannabis, tinctures, oils, any of that, I don't feel the pain anymore.
Good, man. That's awesome. Now, are you using any other meds with the medical cannabis?
No, I'm off everything except for the medical cannabis.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
How many meds were you on before you started using medical cannabis?
I couldn't tell you, there's too many. A number is very hard to think of when it comes to that. My condition is pseudo-obstruction and gastrointestinal dysmotility. And basically what that means is that my gastrointestinal tract, my GI tract, doesn't work necessarily in the way that, say, yours or my parents is. Basically, it means that it's slower to the point where it actually doesn't move anything through. And the pain I felt before medical cannabis was excruciating and unbearable now that I look back at it, but I gained such a high pain tolerance that back then I didn't realize how much it actually was.
Did anything help you back then, pain-wise? Like, I'm sure they gave you prescription meds. I mean, did that stuff just make it worse?
None of the medicines that we ever used that the doctors gave us ever actually worked. It would be a temporary solution that would last a week at most, but then it would stop working and I'd just go back to the same way I was. And sure, we were on some pain medicines for a little while, but they didn't really help at all.
Connor, what are some of the struggles that you face when it comes to medicating?
I can't medicate in school. And because, you know, the racing, I travel a lot and I can't medicate in other states. So race days are usually worse than others.
That's terrible.
Like physically.
So you just need your meds so that you can curb your symptoms, so that you can help your disease, but you don't have access to medicate while you're in school. You don't have access to medicate in other states. And I can't imagine how much that could like make your body fluctuate because you're not continuing your medical regimen.
Yeah.
So you have a regimen, right? You have specific times that you use it?
Yeah.
What is that like?
Usually it's like once when I wake up, just a little bit of tincture. Once in the evening, really around like 12, 11, 12, and then the last one before I go to bed.
It was pretty much the same every day.
Yeah,
So
every day, basically. But of course, the evening one is usually messed up because of school hours.
What do you do when you're on the road then? Like if you have to go somewhere for a race and get a hotel, what do you do? In another state. You just can't use it.
Can't use it, no.
What does that do to your body? That's got to throw you for a loop.
I don't eat. I'm usually really nauseous and sick.
Wow. And all because?
I can't use my medicine.
Yeah. Hey everybody, I'm here with Connor's dad. This is Mike Sheffield. Mike, thanks so much for talking to me today.
No problem.
What was it like when you found out Connor was sick?
Phew, man, what was it like? It's hard to tell. It's hard to explain what it was like because it took years for us to figure out that he was actually sick. It took years for us, multiple doctors, to find out if there was anything wrong other than his pediatrician saying that he had a poor diet. But his diet was just like every other kid, you know, baby food, and as babies grow up, they eat more and more stuff. So at the point we found out when he was, I want to say he was maybe 8 or 9, and it was difficult, right? You know, when you're growing up, you have a kid, you think the kid's going to play football, he's going to grow up to be Brett Favre, and you know, then you find out your child's sick.
When did you find out?
I think, I want to say, we noticed he had issues right around when he was, I want to say 7, 8-ish. We got the official diagnosis not too long ago, probably in 2016 or 17. We got the official diagnosis after, you know, we were University of Maryland and saw those doctors there. They sent us out to Ohio to have some testing done. Once we had that testing done, we had to transfer the care to Hopkins. Went for a second opinion with one of the best doctors in the world in Boston, and he finally, through his testing, because he's the top doctor in the world in this in GI, how severe Connor's case was. And at that point, you know, we were going through the progressions of different procedures on how to help Connor make him better.
Mike, how severe did things get before Connor started using medical cannabis?
They were pretty severe. You know, I'll lead back to 2016 when things were really progressing. You know, the first thing they tried was they resected part of his colon. They figured that would help. He had multiple ostomies. They thought that would help. Then last summer, in July of 2018, we literally came home. He was so bad. We came home from a race. Literally drove from Illinois back here. I dropped the race trailer off. We went right to Hopkins, and at that point, they gave him a feeding tube because he was down to like 72 pounds. He was pretty light. They gave him the feeding tube. We were in the hospital for about a week. They said, hey, this is going to fix Connor. This is going to help move things along. We were out of the hospital, I think, 2 or 3 days, and that's when, I'd hate to say that the feeding tube was probably the bright spot, but that's when we realized things were actually worse than they were, because he couldn't tolerate the tube feeds, so we were feeding him because he couldn't eat. And we noticed one day, we were only in the hospital like 2 days, he wasn't feeling well, and I said, well, let me vent your tube. And when I did, he just looked very sick, like he wasn't going to hold anything down through the mouth. And I went to vent his feeding tube, and thank God I had, you know, one of those super duper big gulps, a cup like that around me, because everything started coming out of the tube. So he was rejecting it this way. So we were out of the hospital 2 days, went back to the hospital, and that's where we spent the next 45 days in the hospital. Connor was actually hooked up to TPN, which was, he was being fed through his veins because he couldn't handle his nutrients any other way. We came out of the hospital. They restarted all the same prescription drugs. You know, let's try these over and over again, see if they work. And then finally in December of 2018, so 11 months ago, they said, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do, and suggested palliative care. And at that point, we actually had, Bobby from NCW actually reached out to us, tried to get us to come in. Unbeknownst to him, we actually applied for the card. And then when we gotten approved, we actually went to NCW and met with everyone, and we started the medical cannabis on December 27th.
From day one, you started using medical cannabis. What did you see in regard to Connor's symptoms? Did things get better quickly? Did it take a while?
You know, he did the tincture, and within 15 minutes, he was begging me to go get him food.
Really?
I mean, it was quick.
Wow.
You know, I mean, from a child that we've never really seen put much in his mouth, I mean, to say he never ate, you know, would be hard to say. He would nibble, but then I watched the kid, you know, give him the tincture, his nausea would go away, have no pain, and next thing you know, he's sitting, a big joke, and with some racing people, they would make a comment that his plate's full, and he would say, not really. He went to a full plate. Like, he would sit down, and now, you know, it's 11 months later, he's going and hanging out and going to dinner and lunch and hanging out at restaurants and doing social things around food like most people do, where he's never done that in his life. He missed all that time. At one point, you know, when he was younger, he wouldn't even sit in the cafeteria during lunch because he wouldn't eat. So
Now that he's been using cannabis for a good amount of time, for 11 months, how have things come along? Has it gotten easier to streamline his intake of meds? Has he been seeing continued success? Have you had to change any meds? What's it been like using cannabis?
What we've done is, we're always looking to improve his health, and improve his weight. He has gained a good amount of weight, but he always a little bit more. As you see, he's a thin child. We've tried experimenting with it, but we've kind of found a regimen that works. And when he does his medicine, he's fine. He's out. He's going to the mall on Friday nights. He's spending, up until this year, he's never even spent the night at a friend's house, really. He would always make excuses of why he couldn't go, or he didn't, not excuses, but he didn't feel good enough to go, or his medical situation, or we were in the hospital, for 20 days at a time, and he was missing everything that a child does. He missed.
Connor, what do you think about the stigma surrounding cannabis?
I think the same thing everybody in the community thinks. It's unnecessary. It's kind of stupid, honestly. People shouldn't be afraid of it. I mean, it's just medicine. But when I started using it, that's just, for medicine. I didn't imagine that that it would ever actually work. Because I grew up with that stigma. But that stigma broke fast for me.
Do you see stigma growing or breaking?
I don't know, because I feel like I am seeing some people lose that stigma because of me, but I am also seeing.
Seriously.
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm seeing politically there's a lot of stigma growing,
One of the good things, Connor's courage.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, I'm the Connor.
Wait, you're the Connor?
I'm the Connor, and I think I have the courage. I do have the courage.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just a bill going through the House right now. And it's about, what we were talking about before, letting me take my medicine in school. And it's just not anywhere in the building. It's not I'm going to be in the middle of class, smoking a joint or something. I'm going to go to the nurse's office, take my tincture, drink some water, go back upstairs. And I think I'm a living example that, people who use medical cannabis aren't just a bunch of potheads who are,
Cannabis saves lives, and cannabis has been saving your life for some time right now.
This was last December. Yeah, I'm glad that I started doing this young, because I don't want to be an old man and this just finally gets drafted. I want to be able to see this in my lifetime.
Connor, tell me what it's like on a normal day of school. Walk me through it.
So I get to school a little early because I like to see my friends before homeroom starts and all that. Day is pretty normal up until third period.
What happens third period?
Well, lunch, but the thing that the big thing for period 3 is that I have to miss a decent amount of class time in order to be able to take my medicine.
So you just get pulled out of class?
No, my dad has to come to the school from home. He works from home, by the way. He has to come to the school, sign me out. I have to come all the way downstairs because most of my classes are on the second floor. Leave the building, go off school grounds into our truck, take the medicine, out of the truck back into the school, sign me, and I go back upstairs.
Wow, that's a process.
Just to be able to take my medicine while at school. And I miss a decent amount of class time.
Is there a stigma that comes along with that?
Yeah.
From other kids, from parents, from faculty?
Oh, definitely from the parents. From the parents, I get some weird looks when I meet my friends' parents. There have been some kids at school who are use weed and all that stuff, but...
Wow.
Yeah.
What's it like with so you said the parents?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how some of the parents know, but they know. And it's not bad that they know, but it's more just the kind of the looks that I get when not getting picked up from school.
Do you feel like they judge you?
Yeah, and like especially like when I meet people's parents for the first time, it's weird.
Man.
Like I mean, all my friends know. Like everybody knows. You know, I don't have an issue with people knowing.
But you're not a pothead.
No.
It's not like you're in school just like, yeah, you know, I'm smoking weed and I'm getting high. It's not like that.
It's just a bong in one hand,
Yeah.
binder in the other. The only two B's that I need, other than my grades.
Not like a, you know, when I was a kid growing up, there were all the commercials with like your typical stoner and the way that they made it look, you know, falling asleep all the time and just being lazy and letting your life go to waste. But you're active. You do stuff. Now that you've been using medical cannabis, you can do a lot more.
Yeah, I skate, I drive race cars, play video games. I just do teenager stuff.
That's cool. Connor, you told me you're a race car driver. You're 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about being a 15-year-old race car driver.
What is there to say? I drive race cars at 15 years old. It's fun. I race older men.
That's wild.
Like people like your age.
Really?
Older.
Older? Thanks, man.
Some a little younger.
Thanks, bro.
What?
Well, you're like people your age, you know, older.
Yeah, I race like older people. I race people like 20s, 30s, 40s.
Wow. So you're not doing it against other high school kids?
There's a couple high school kids. There's not many though. I'm one of the youngest.
Nice. What about
I'm
other...
beat by one day.
What's that?
I'm beat by one day.
Uh-huh. Are there a lot of other race car drivers that use medical cannabis?
No.
Really?
Really? I don't know of any.
What do you face in regard to stigma when you're in the pits?
Well, in the pits, I mean, we don't face too much stigma because everybody knows that we do it, but like nobody says anything. Nobody really cares. But we don't do it. We're not allowed to do it at the track.
What about in the skateboard community? Do you think cannabis is well accepted? Yeah.
Yeah, but probably not for the reason why I do it.
Fair enough. What about the skateboard community looking at cannabis as medicine?
I don't know. Everybody kind of has their own thoughts. Everybody has their own opinions. I assume they'll accept it. There's, not really much reason not to.
Pretty much open-minded people, right? That skate.
Yeah, most of us are.
So, how long have you been skateboarding?
Only since last November maybe.
So when you started taking medical cannabis, you were able to hop on the board? Or did you start doing that before you did medical cannabis?
So my friend Zach started wanting to get me into it last November. So I tested out a longboard and a skateboard, and I was like, and for Christmas I asked for a skateboard. And I hadn't really started actually skating consistently until after I started using medical cannabis, which ironically enough was 2 days after I got my skateboard.
Connor, I understand you're a huge gamer. What are you playing right now?
I'm playing a mix of things. I'm playing Insurgency Sandstorm, great game. Hearts of Iron 4, Crusader Kings 2. I'm trying to think. Red Dead Redemption 2, big one. Yeah, Sub Rosa. I'm playing a lot of stuff right now.
What platform do you use?
Mainly I'm on PC. It's PC Master Race.
Nice. So do you stream when you play?
Sometimes. I do sometimes. I haven't recently.
All right. Are you gonna get back into streaming, or have you ever streamed with anyone?
I have streamed with a few people, and I do plan on getting back into it soon.
So, Connor, we talked about a charity stream when it comes to video games. What would that be like? What would you do? Who would you do it with? What is a charity stream? How does that even work out?
So basically a charity stream is just a live stream on a platform like Twitch or YouTube, and usually larger YouTubers do it because they can raise money a lot faster. For example, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, they're pretty much regulars when it comes to that.
Should do a charity stream with them.
That's exactly what I was gonna get to. Yeah, people like them, or iStar Productions, the Yogs Cast, because I know they also do charity streams. So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a quick way to raise money for the fundraiser.
Connor, how can the community help you to make Connor's Courage a success?
Just spread the word about it. Really, it's the more people that talk about it, there's gonna be the more important people acknowledging it, and mean, that's just what we need, really.
Right on. So spread the word.
Yeah, spread the word. Share your stories if you're a patient. Doesn't matter how old you are.
Patient testimony. And that's what it's all about, letting everybody in our community know that, and not only our community, but across the country, across the world, letting people know that cannabis is here to heal and to help. And you're living proof. So if we talk about this and we continue to let people know, Connor's Courage is going to be a win. It's going to be a huge success. What do you think, bud?
I agree. I know.
My dude.
It's gonna happen.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for checking out our video. This is Leaflix. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, click like on this video, and share it to your social media feeds. Connor, thanks, man. I really, really appreciate you coming out, dude.
Thank you for having me. It means a lot.
Heck yeah. Peace.
Starving.